This is called the Doctrine of English Verbs. If you study some linguistics, you realize that the past, present, future sense of time that our English words communicate so well and so easily that sense is not present in all other languages, even some familiar languages, otherwise familiar languages. This is called the Doctrine of English Verbs. The Doctrine of English Verbs tells a sad science, a lyrical experiment in being gone. Sing, sang, sung, doing it, did it, and now it's done. But what's to come? I will sing. Sure, we hear that will, future marker, and know it means I want, and we know how it is with wanting, getting what I want. Even when my will is bent to my desire, like a man breaking his back, rowing his dull boat, all his strength, and can't see where he's going, we row backwards into the dark. The doctrine of English verbs will break your heart. And the last one from Lapis I'll read. It's called The Theology of Mind. It's a prose poem. When I say mind, I mean desire. When I say desire, I mean you. When I say you, I mean your skin. When I say your skin, I mean the way in. When I say the way in, I mean the way into the dark. When I say the dark, I mean the place where there is listening. When I say listening, I mean listening to the word. When I say the word, I mean a bone. And when I say a bone, I mean the ocean. But when I say ocean, I mean a book. And when I say book, I mean the law. When I say law, I mean tethers and fetters. When I say fetters, I mean a knife. When I say knife, I mean wisdom. When I say wisdom, I mean your body. And when I say your body, I mean your mind. I have tea and you don't. I feel both good and bad about them. Mostly bad, but necessary.
You may get a chance in a little while.
And then they won't let me have any. That's okay. A couple of years ago, I wrote a long poem called Fire Exit, which was published a few months ago. Fire Exit has a number of different meanings, most of them referring back to well, I'll read you the note I put on the back of the book. Three different images, three different ideas. The first is the Buddha's parable in the Lotus Sutra. Existence is a house on fire, and a desperate father tries to get his children out using any language he can to coax them from the flames, talking a way out. Then another meaning is the sign I used to see in the movie houses when I was a kid. In flaming red letters, it used to say fire over exit. Now it just says exit. Fire, I guess, is too scary a word. But it used to say fire exit. Is marked the sudden door that led from the world of the spectacle to the world of the actual. The third is the exit of the gods of Valhalla, when the world goes up in fire. Look at the demo moment that Wagner makes so important. So Fire Exit was the name of this. It has a structure, many sections, some long, some short, all of them in the form of triads, or three-line stanzas, so that from across the room it would look like Dante. And of course there's a lot of hell in trying to get out of it in it too, but I won't push the resemblance any further than that. So, to make it look like Dante even from across the room is something. Guido Guinicelli would have liked that. So this is, it's an exploration of, by music. Earlier Alison quoted something of mine where I spoke of music as the weapon. And music is, of course, I mean, we think of the music I mentioned before, where I'm not felicitas at first, listening to great music greatly performed. That music is that art of shaping time, shaping time by tone, by sound. And poetry is the art of shaping time by words. But words are not just sounds, they're also images cast in the mind's eye. And the manipulation of those sounds and images together, and God knows why it happens. But you know, we can say a word like white cat, and the sounds are there, and most minds will fill with an image of an animal who's white. And that extraordinary thing that happens with words and only with words. I mean, music doesn't do that. A flat doesn't immediately conjure any particular image to all beings, no matter what the tempo of it. But that sense of something happening in time is, I guess, why music is the way in which I think of language exploring. One is using words instead of tones, but one is structuring something very, very like that music. And so often in my own work, a poem begins, or in this case, a section of the poem begins with something I hear or overhear in my mind, and God knows where it comes from. I'm not really interested in that issue very much. It's in small print, so let me get more intimate with it. This is section 23 of Fire Exit. You have to take care of money. That's the trouble. It's like a child. You want it to sleep till it's needed, more like a hammer than a dog. But money is a man. It needs attention, needs to snuggle up to you and know its dear place in your heart. Your bed will ne'er be taken by an other. We sat in Sheridan Square discerning women's bodies with the woolen coats of women, and these women looked no different from the women on Sutton Place, though the coats were different, and we were cold. The only warming, the ardent business end of cigarettes, cold ash moon down Christopher Street, setting, and so what? Little did we know that everything that ever was still is. You just have to put your finger on it, as I now, this morning, you, dig out of that time, 4 a.m., the dawn patrol of horny clerisy, still footing it beneath some all-day moon in another country close to here. Even now is then, and nothing's lost, alas, though we are closer to it now by far. The no-pronoun desert with stone trees look like ruby when you cut, but nothing bleeds. And we are almost there. One more pit stop in Wyoming, the place with all the flags and penguins. The world as ordinary lie. Can't wait to get to where you can't bear to stay. Every now and again, as I wrote this text, voices would appear, saying things, not exactly me, I guess. So when I include those passages that I, quote, heard them, quote, say, I put them in quotation marks. I won't indicate where they are here, but there are a number of them in this passage, 44. One imagines an explorer speaking. Most of the natives live in fear of our trombones. This is physical, not psychological. They wonder how we can bear what brass does to their ears, the voice of bright stone that hurts them so. They fall and welter when we play the meekest reveille. Bright stone is any metal, tin as much as gold. They go to sleep as soon as it's dark. Arthritis in the finger joints goes with a fear of snakes. What dexterity they gave up to win mere listenness. Every animal is an abandonment, a hell. Hear him. A voice has arms. Something is stirring in the world. The stars round up in a circle and stand like stones. Menhirs, Renoir's Tony, 1931. How black the black, how white the sun. The wind takes shelter here. Wake up now, whitecaps. Wake, Safe in the skirts of your dubious desire, no sail on the sound. It's all about conflict. Every voice conflicts with every other, but this is Dasein stuff. Conflict with nothing at stake, just the right to disagree, and hope from all that lucency of sense, pronoun wrangling with pronouns, some better thing than gold will come, a revolution with no ifs in it. Dark hedges by the power station, the path so narrow, the snake can hardly slip along it. Any face could be looking from the leaves, goat face with human eyes, or any face that all the glass remembers. Existential conflict, atheist theologians at each other's throats, dreamers dueling in their dream.